Good morning, friends. I totally forgot yesterday when I recorded my Flosstube 17 a couple things that I wanted to share, so I'm going to put those in here now, and then afterwards I will slip in the recording from yesterday. I mentioned last month how excited I was to reach out to Hobby House thanks to Liz and Shelley from the Antique Needleworkers, as well as I've been watching it for 2 years now. Country Stitchers mentioned the Petite stand, and it has arrived. So I wanted to share that with you all, and of course I did get it in my color that I mean it kind of goes with the greens on the walls and the mint colors in here, but I took it to the lake this weekend, and it came in handy sitting on my table that I shared that Lisa from Lost in Stitches enabled me with. It sits nicely on the table. I mean, I could even stand here if I wanted to stay on my feet, but the mechanisms are so smooth. You can widen it so that it does fit the flatter nerge hoops. And I do like to keep the nerge or the grime guards on them when I'm using this, because I'm not sure after maybe many years it might wear the finish, but just to keep it safe, I'll just share with you. I don't know if you can see how that's widening. It doesn't need to be too wide for the nerge. With that little hook, I tend to go off to the side. This also can be put in your lap if you like to stitch that way up close, so you can get your, I guess I unwound it quite a bit, so get your hands underneath. There it goes. And like I said, you can, whoops, I guess it's not quite there yet. Almost. It goes quite flat. There it goes. Now it'll hold still. And you can easily stitch. Like I said, the quality is just so nice and smooth. It's Volca Petite, I think is how that's said. And like I said, Hobby House sold out the day that I got it. I looked back not even 2 hours later and they were all sold out. So I was very grateful. My husband said I could get an early birthday present and was able to purchase that. So I have been using it, and I did want to share that was one of the other items that came in the mail since the last floss tube that I had done. And I just store it away right now up on the shelf in front of my jars, and if I take it with me, it goes into one of my project bags to keep from scratching it. But I love the finish on it. I don't know if you up close you can see the mechanism in there is just so smooth. It's a very well made product, and I would recommend it. If you get your hands on one, you will be satisfied as well. So I'll set that there. I mentioned in my last one that I ordered the Liberty box, but it did come. I did make a video on my channel here sharing the items, but real quickly I'll just share. It came with some coasters, some bow and needles, so the ones that I have in my haul you'll see in my video. I can also add the Clover and the Bowen and their glass head needles, so I have plenty now. It gives a little card telling you what all's in the box. The pattern for this box was the apple pie, and they give you the fabrics called Stateside for that, and I guess it's enough to make the pattern. Besides, you'll probably have to get the backing, which calls for 1 3/4 yards, as well as the binding. You need 1/2 yard. So those are the only two things that doesn't come with, but enough fabrics to make the flimsy top, I guess is what you would call that. It also had a nice little cute cut. I guess that's a 4.5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4.5 inch ruler from Lori Holt. A cute little tape measure, Be Vintage, also a Lori Holt. So those are the items. You can check out my unboxing, I guess, if you'd like to see it up closer or more detail that I talk about the box and actually show the coasters and things. But that was another haul that I had forgot to mention in my upcoming floss tube that you will see. The only other things that I didn't update you on, I will slip in a video probably once I finish here. I'll slip in the on-the-go bag video that I made. It's just what I carry now in my little sewing box kind of a thing. When I go away, I just wanted to share some of the things that I carry with me to have, like in the car. But I didn't share with you the projects that I did for hooking. So I wanted to update you on that project since the last time you've seen it, and I'll insert those pictures also of what it looked like before. And let's go into the other room where I keep that, and I will share with you where we're at with the stands also. Sorry if I'm too close. I'm going to turn you around here. This is the room that I've put all my stands in and one sewing machine. With the Great Craft Room Challenge, a lot of things got moved around, so I brought one of the sewing machines in here for space. But this is the project I'm talking about, the stand here. See if I can get a little better light, because it is kind of dark in here. I think the last time you've seen this, and I've shared the picture, it did not have the hat outlined. Let's see here, this might be able to see it a little bit better here with the shades opened. It is a mustard seed pattern. It's the snowman. And last time none of the hat was in, but I think it was a couple weeks ago, because I wasn't able to go last week, but the week before I went ahead and stitched in the hat, and I will probably go ahead and start filling it in, as well as the snowman, start the head of the snowman, so that I can snip some of these longer pieces of wool and maybe finish a couple of the buttons. Hopefully. We'll see how long. I spend about 2 hours up there doing that. And we do talk, so that's kind of the way it goes when you're with ladies. You don't get as much done as you think you're gonna. And I'm hoping to finish my stand. I still haven't done much with the swivel base, but this stand that I'm using has been borrowed, so I do want to get that back to Connie, and that way I'll have the lap stand for this piece, because it's not a very large piece. The other hooked project that I'm doing, I haven't really worked on it much, is on this new stand that I mentioned that came from a very generous maker that Shelly actually recommended my name to her, so I got in touch with this lady and she sent this to me in the mail. It's been put together and I've got it on the stand. It is, I want to say, if I can get to the sticker, I'm not sure where, oh, it's down here on the bottom. Let's see if I can move it easily. I still have to screw in the metal screws all the way, but they are in enough to where it holds. But down here on the bottom, it's an Anderson stand is what it says. And the date when it was made was August 1st of 2010. But I found out from a couple other people that have them back in that, and I guess it was 2020, they ran around $150. So, like I said, you'll see in the video, I just had to pay for shipping. They were just willing to ship it to me, and she went out of her way to box it up in a smaller box so that I didn't have to pay too much for shipping. So I think I paid I think she wanted $42 to ship it, and she got it all boxed up, and I was just so grateful. I sent her a little extra because that was just, you know, very generous of her to go to that length to ship it to me and not pay pay for it, but it will get some good use. Like I said, the larger piece that I have was my first yarn project that I started on here. Some of the yarn is wool, but for the most part it's just basic acrylic yarns that I had in my stash that I wanted to use on this pattern that was also given to me from another maker that I meet with on Wednesdays. But it's the same maker of pattern, Connie's Mustard Seed Primitives. And I'm not sure I'll do exactly the way they've got the basket. I was going to leave the basket off, but I think I will go ahead and do the patterns. Just have to think about the colors. My cranberries don't actually look like they're cranberries, but for a first project, I think I'm doing it okay. Yarn is a little harder to do than the wool strips. The wool strips go through the fabrics a lot nicer than the yarn, but I'll take my time with it and hopefully it'll turn out okay for a first project. I have my yarns in this little sewing box down here, and I've had this for many years. I mean, I don't mind the top that's on it, but I wouldn't mind switching it out to maybe one of my first pieces like this, or it looks a little bigger though, so I might have to use it on a stool or something like that. I'll just have to measure it depending on what I do and how long it takes me to do it. But I'm going to take my time and just enjoy the making of it and using of the stands and things that I've been given. But like I said, this is the room that I come to relax. I've got a few cross stitch pieces in here. I don't get in here in the summertime as much as I'd like with the busyness of our lives lately, but I want to get back to my Mirabilia and things like that. But when they're sitting out, I see them and I get more anxious to do them when they're sitting out. So the ones that I've started, I've got at least 4 projects in here started. So I can easily come in here and just work on these instead of pulling something out of my closet. Lastly, I guess before I plug in my video, craft room update. Like I said, last June, it's had pretty much quite a bit of a makeover. I brought in a bookshelf and put all my books that were up in these cupboards down here, and just so it's easily accessed. I moved my sewing machine to that side so that I can get a chair in here to easily sew. I did put out my diamond painting on my light table here. I haven't moved my TV over yet. I mentioned it to my husband, and not sure when we'll get to it. Hopefully maybe on his time off in August we might be able to do that if we're not at the lake too much. But I organized that as well as all of my bins. I turned my craft table into one unit instead of having a craft table there and a cutting table here. I made it into all one big unit. A few things I need to put away, but a much bigger space to cut material when it's emptied. Removing that sewing machine off that wall, I was able to bring in, or actually I took this bookshelf out of the closet to store the things that I had in the hall closet here. This is just my roll-away table. These are some of the things that I'll share here in my YouTube that need to be put away. That was haul last month, and the first thing that I'm going to get to on these machines is some mending that's underneath there. But that June challenge, I went through all of these drawers and organized them all, put things where I wanted them. And I'd like to bring in my 3D printer once we remove the TV. That's what's under here is a TV. And have my 3D printer on this table here so that it's not in the laundry room anymore and all my crafty things can be sorted in here. So those were the kind of things that happened last month. It kept me busy every day. I was very excited to have that challenge. That way I feel better about the things that I have and know where they're at. I turned my craft table when I had to take it down off that wall, I lost my space for my ironing station, so I turned my cart back into the wheeling ironing station that can be pulled out and pulled up to like the machine in the other room or one of these machines over here. I do have an ironing station that I made this desk into, which is very handy if I'm sitting over there sewing. I can just plug in my iron and have iron pieces here. But all my supplies, like my clappers and things, are on that rollaway cart in the closet. So that's where I keep those supplies. I didn't do much with the yarns besides take them off the tops. This is all the same here. I didn't really do too much with the supplies on this wall besides my scroll rods and things got organized a little bit better. I hung some up on the wall here that I keep together. All of my whips for yarn are up in those boxes. All of my bags and canvas project bags are up there. I am going to take these yarns down and put them in the drawers that I've allotted for yarn. And then these are my whips for cross stitch, as well as kitted projects. And then just some paper supplies and craft items are down in here in these drawers. So I did quite a bit. In my floss tube, I'll mention the walnut shells that I purchased. That's where I'm talking about. That's where they are on the closet shelf there. I've got two sewing boxes there that are like for the feet and things that you use on the sewing machines, and then the other one I tend to take to the lake when I need supplies for the lake when I'm sewing up there with my other machine that I've taken up there. So that's kind of the organization of what happened last month. In a rough draft, I think the last day of my great challenge is when I went through everything in the cupboards and in the bins and in my desk. So if you want to go back and watch what's all in these, that's on that specific day. I think it was June the 30th for that video. But for now, we'll get to the insert of my little bag that I take on the go, and then after that we'll get to floss tube number 16. Thanks for joining me. Hi again, it's Linda, and I wanted to come on and share with you what I keep in my on-the-go bag. I've tried not to bring too much when I go away, but for stitching anyways, I thought I'd share the things lately that I've been using the most and how I keep it stored. Lately I've been using this Vera Bradley snap bag. I've had it for a little while. I've changed it often, just depending on the bag I've used. I've been using the 31 bags for extra supplies. It always goes with me, but it's not the one that, like, if I'm in my passenger seat of the car and I'm wanting to stitch on something, this is pretty much next to me. And I will share. It's just a snap open. Of course, like I said in my floss tube, if you watched, these are the new little sheaths that I made for my scissors and a little fob. So this is just my scissors that I always take with me. They're the ones that I always have. Hopefully I will never lose them. But I keep that in here. And I really enjoyed making this little fob. I want to make quite a few more if I can. They would make perfect gifts, stitchy gifts for friends. But just have to have, I mean, some of this is just old jewelry that has broken that I've saved. You can find these little things at Hobby Lobby. This is old jewelry that's broken. This piece here, as well as these little beads here, came off of a bracelet that's snapped, and I just said, okay, I'm going to keep all these beads. And these were old earrings. So I just found that rubber elastic that you just threaded on. Try to figure out how to tie a knot without it showing. And then you get these little clasps in the craft stores, sell all these kind of things. And you have your little scissor fob. So that's kind of how I made that. And I just attach it to either scissors, you can attach it to a zippy bag. I did the same thing with this one. Just found some pieces at the store that I thought were really pretty. This was an old necklace that I had that never got worn, so I thought they'd be perfect for these little things. This is my little Ort container. I forget where I got that. Someone gave it to me. I don't think it was from my sister, but it could have been, but I've had it for many years. But I keep my Orts in here as well as my threader for cross stitch. Just keeps it handy. I probably have another threader in here too. Not realizing that I had two, but that's my little Ort container. This little needle case was given to me because they knew I love this color. So I keep some needles in here for cross stitch. Right now I've only got one in here, but I purchased some extra needles, so they need to go in there as well. So that's another little handy thing that I keep for needles. Of course, a tape measure. If I need that, that goes in here. This is a new gift also. Stitchy Kindness was given to me. I don't know what these are called, but it's to keep the, like if you're head to frog and you have some threads on your fabric, this gets it off really nicely. Got some tweezers, magnified if I need it for anything. They open up and have a little light on it. I also have a thimble if I need a thimble for anything. And yes, you can see a theme here with the colors. I just love that color. I don't know why it started, but it did. Yep, there's my other one. So I have two threaders in here. So we'll put that other one in here as well. And these do fold up, so they don't have to stay open, but it is handy. You can see some of my yarn Orts are in there, as well as my thread Orts. And then, of course, I have an extra ring in here if I need it. And then these are my another seam ripper. So I have a magnetic one, or not a magnetic, a lighted seam ripper, but I don't keep it in here since I like using this one since it has a necklace on it. I can just put it around my neck, and I like that it also can hide away. And I think I got this at one of the quilt what do they call them? Yearly quilt shows that you go to. It was in one of the booths that I found, and I said I need that, so I purchased it there. And then this is a magnetic needle case, so I can keep some of my threads and needles in here. I forget what this is called. A snag nabbit, that's it, for cross stitch. So that's also in here. But I just keep it all in here, nice and flat, and it closes neatly. And what I like about this bag is if it seems full, it gets even fuller because you can push everything down and it expands quite a bit. So that is my on-the-go carry that I take with me lately. Thought I would share. Hi friends, it's Linda, and this always happens to me. Cuckoo's going. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock on December. Wow. I probably wish it was December because it's so hot. Anyway, it's July the 10th at 8 o'clock in the evening. I decided I thought I'd better get my video at least recorded. Hopefully it'll be up tomorrow if I can get a little time in the morning to edit it into my program and then upload it to YouTube. But I was kind of going through my notes before this, trying to think about all that's happened since my last floss tube, And looking back during that time, I was just kind of wowed at all the things that happened between life, crafts, making, and just the things that happened throughout the month. I think my last floss tube, which was number 15, so this is Flosstube 16, which seems kind of odd when I've been doing it since January of 2022 is when I started. I think that's right. Yeah, because this past January was my year on Flosstube. But with all that's happened in that year, I was thinking 16 floss tubes and all that I've done in those floss tubes, if you watch them. It's just kind of amazing to see what has happened in this room. Primarily my channel is about just maintaining the crafts that I have and keeping them documented on what I work on. Floss tube meaning mostly cross stitch, but also includes sewing when there's time for that, a little bit of crochet, not much knitting. Once in a while there's some knitting, but not lately has there been any knitting. And then recently hooking rugs. I'm learning to do that, so I'm enjoying the process of learning new crafts. Sometimes there's diamond painting. I've got my diamond painting set up this past month, but I haven't actually sat down to do any. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. I've got one in process. I've fully finished one that I have hung in my laundry room. But besides that, and organizing everything that I have, like last month was a challenge that was accepted through the Fanciful Flamingo Alicia, and I went ahead and surprised myself and was able to get I think I missed one or 2 days in the month, but with our weekends away, it was a little challenging in itself to try to have enough videos to put in on a daily basis. But I did it. Some days I did 3 challenges to make up for the weekend. But I am pleased with being able to know what I have and where it's at. It's pretty full in here, but the next challenge for me is, like I said, to work on the projects that I have and the things that are in here, so that if I find that I'm not going to do them, I will pass them on or donate them, so that I don't just collect things. I mean, we all love to collect things, right? But I want to use the things that I collect. So to start with, I think looking down at what's around me, I guess I will start with maybe, I don't know, let me know if you prefer to have life updates before or after, or if you want me to get right into the crafts or the haul. I just never know what I should do first. So maybe what's closest to me I will start with, and I will be looking down a little bit just so that I make sure that I've covered the things that I've written down that I want to be sure and cover. Like I was saying, my last floss tube, there was a little bit of cross stitch with the SYS 2023 floss tube page that I like to look into. I've been doing it weekly, but with summer it's been really crazy back and forth to the lake, and I try to get on and communicate with those that are on there as well as share what I'm doing, but I haven't picked up those projects since the SYS 6 and 6, I think is what that one was called. I kept one project out, thought I'd work on it last month. It didn't get worked on. I kept bringing it with me on the weekends, but it just never actually got stitched on, so I'm not going to share those this time, but as I pick them up I will share those. I did receive during that weekend that we had the 6 and 6, they had giveaways, and so I did receive my winnings for one of the challenges, I think, that they were giving away, and I thought I would share that. And it came from the Fanciful Flamingo. She wrote me a little note and thanked me for being supportive and engaging. So that was a very sweet note. Thank you, Alicia. But she sent along the little gift of some floss tags and a ring to go with them, with her little Fanciful Flamingo logo on it. So I think those are showing up. The little flamingo, so cute. And it also came with a thread organizer card, and you can put your numbers and your threads on it. And it says Maker Susan on it. I'm not sure if that's where she got that, or I think that's kind of, it says designed in the US and made in Turkey. So I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look that up and see what that's about. But she sent me a pattern called Seasonal Samplings for Spring, and it's by Primrose Cottage Stitches, which I just received recently. I purchased my first one from them, so now I have two, and it's so cute. It's got the word spring on it, as well as the little rabbits, and of course houses are on there, and birds, so that'll be fun to put together. Lately I have been kitting quite a few things up, but I really appreciate that sweet gift for being a part of that SYS 6 and 6. So that was fun. So that was the one thing that I received last month that I think I mentioned, but I didn't actually have it to share. So I thought I would share that today. I'm going to slip over here and grab the things because things are a little further away this time. Like I was saying, I was kitting up things over the weekend. I did a few more, and I just thought I'd share those first before actually sharing what I actually stitched on. These don't have any stitches in them, but I thought I would share the 4 patterns with you and share the colors that I put together. Actually, most of them are all called for colors now that I'm thinking about it, because I just told myself it's easier. So what I did is I ran to Hobby Lobby and picked up the DMC conversions for each of these patterns, but I'll show you up close what those look like. And of course I get inspired through social media with the friends that I talk with, and this first one of course was shared on a YouTube, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the Antique Needleworkers, because she was sharing something that she bought for Liz, and when she shared it I had to of course go online and look up the pattern because I thought it was cute, but I didn't realize the it's like a locket. I have to go back to Hobby Lobby and I'll have to look for it, but it's one of the Tim Holtz lockets that you put the Bristol inspired biddy is what it's called. So I just copied that off, and it's from Colorado Cross Stitcher. It is a free pattern, so if you go to her website you will find the pattern on there. So I kitted that up, and I'm using I think it's called for 46 count fabric, and I actually had a oat Bristol linen, which is 46 count, and I got that through Hobby Lobby as well, and I already had that in my stash. So that's what I'm going to use, and I kitted that up on the 8th, which was just a couple days ago. It says to pick your own silk or red color that is your favorite. So I found a Krynic red that I like, that are the silks, and I put it on a little Q-snap with the linen, and I think that's what I'm going to stitch that one in, and hopefully it'll go quickly since I've never done 46 count. But I will post on my social when I actually start this. But that was one of the ones that I kitted up. One color should not be too difficult to finish. So that was one of the ones that was kitted this past weekend. And then I also have I think this is also a free chart. It's from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. It's I Can Do All Things Through Christ is the title. And if you go to their website also, I can link their pages down below. But she's in Idaho Falls, Idaho, from the Heart Needle Art. And I was able to get that on a Q-snap, as well as I make my little cards and I put what I'm using. I did the called for. It's just 3 colors: DMC 320, DMC 352, and DMC 368. I put my little what do you call these? Floss tags. I had a little bird with a flower because I like to have little pretties on my tags, so that's what I did. And these are the 3 colors that I'm talking about. And I put that in a Q-snap, and I just think that'll be real pretty on that color. It's a, let's see if it's a 14 count oatmeal. That's what I'm going to do that on. So some of the ones, actually this is 14 count ecru, not oatmeal. I left the tag on it in the back, and I must have just wrote that wrong on there. I haven't found my starting point on this, or I thought I did, but now I don't see the needle. Don't like missing needles. But maybe I didn't. Oh, no, yes I did. It takes a little for me to find it, but it's underneath here. And when I stitch, I'll probably take the grime guard off. I got these grime guards from Evertotes. She sewed them up, and I just use them in transporting mostly, because I use my stands to clip them, or I've got 2 stands that I've been using lately, and I don't need the grime guard on there, and that way it doesn't get in the way when you're stitching from the back. So that's the second one that I kitted up, and my goal is to make bags for each of these. Since all of my other bags are pretty much filled with other projects, and I do have quite a few sewing projects that I need to finish, and a couple of them are those Lori Holt project bags that I'm wanting to try and make up quickly, because they're pretty much just cut and sew. They're already pre-cut and everything, so I just need to focus and do that. So that's the goal for these few projects that don't have bags. The next one that I kitted up, because I really would like to challenge myself, since June was a challenge month, maybe August, the month of my birthday and anniversary, I thought I would challenge myself to start and see how far I can get. I'm not going to promise anything. On the Cottage of the Month by Country Cottage Needleworks, I just pulled the August one, and like I said, went to Hobby Lobby and picked up the DMC conversions for this chart, and hopefully can start that on August 1st is my plan for this, and that way this will be my August stitch of the month for that month. I have each of these months, January through December, and I've kitted one other, I just haven't started it either. So I would love to say I would challenge myself each month to say, okay, August do August, September do September, but it just hasn't happened, and I've had these charts for quite a while in my stash. So August will be my first, I think, and I'm going to try and stick to it if I can. Not to say I'll finish it in the month, but the month of August I'm going to focus, and I don't know what they call that, put that in my routine, and say, okay, August I'll stitch on this chart. September I'll find September's and stitch on that chart. I'll probably do other things too, but August is what I want to do with this one as my challenge. I guess I would like to challenge myself when I do these. But for that chart, it does call for a 28 count. So I just went to my stash and seen what I had, and this one is a even weave fabric. It just says it's tea dyed is the name on it. It's a Charles Craft Irish linen, which I like the softness of it. It's not too stiff, and I haven't put these on rings yet, but I will. one at a time. But that's what that will look like on there, and then I'll have to find a Q-snap or a Nerge hoop to use for that, and that's kind of the third one that I kitted up. And I think I've noticed in the last year I really do enjoy the getting of the chart, finding the flosses, putting it all together, and then, like I said, taking it and just working on it. So that's my plan for these, and having them in a place in the closet is easy to get to. And lastly, I did, this one's called Let's Do What We Love, and I put the paper in here, so let me get that out really quick so you can see what it looks like. I'm using a 40 count, that's what it calls for, is a 40 count fabric. And the one that I had in my stash is called Country Mocha, 14 count. I put it on a Nerge hoop, and this is the fabric here. I'm trying to remember the exact name. Yeah, it just is a 40 count Country Mocha. And I was on my way home yesterday and had this in the car with me, and I kitted it up with all the colors on the floss tags that I had. And it's got Let's Do What We Love and Do It A Lot by Jeanette Douglas. There's a little house on there, and I had my floss tags that someone had given me, and pulled them all off of their skeins from the DMC. And I love looking at the colors, the way they come out. But I think that will be pretty on that fabric with all those colors. And being a 40 count, it's not going to be very big. I think I wrote down the actual size once it's stitched is, oh, what does it say? I'm giving myself a 3-inch border. It says 45, no, that can't be right, 4.5 by 5. So that's really not going to be very big at all on a 40 count. So I think it'll fit within the size of this hoop that I have. But not sure when I'll start this one. I did want to get it all kitted though and ready to go. And like I said, the next thing will be finding the project bags for each of these to have available. But those were the 4 things that I kitted this past weekend. I think in my last floss tube also I mentioned a few other starts besides cross stitch were crochet, and I'm going to skip over to that really quick right now so I can get rid of a few things that are off to the side here. But I mentioned the booty pattern that Shelley from Antique Needleworks sent me, and I was able to finish and stitch that up, so I will insert some pictures here of what those look like when I finished them. I was so pleased with how that turned out, and they are adorable. I had no use for them, so I thought I would just send them off to her, and she did receive those. And I watched her last floss tube, and I so appreciate the shout out she gave me. It was very kind of her, but I'm glad that those will go to someone in need that she donates to her church through. So I finished those and still had some yarn left, so I started a few other things with that same yarn for my purpose, as well as a couple things will be gifts, but I thought I'd share those now real quickly. I finished 2 of these. They're called scissor sheaths, I guess. You would put your scissors in here, or really you could put anything needlecraft that you'd like, but I made 2 of them and sewed on a button for each. And while I was doing that, I also branched out because I like the pretties, like I was mentioning, to have floss tags with each of my projects. So because of that, I have my Ganger scissors, or my favorite ones right now. They're the sharpest, the ones that I have, and so I wanted to make a little, I guess they call them scissor fobs. So I just got some old jewelry that I had and played around with that, and because of that I thought, well, I'm going to keep one of these and then I'll gift the other one. But I thought that turned out really pretty, and this will go in my stitch bag that I take on the go whenever I go somewhere, and that's kind of the reason I did it, so that I would have just that little extra nicety for my purpose. And so that was another finish, was the crochet. And I didn't finish it yet, but I'm just making a little pot holder / dishcloth. I guess you could use it for a dishcloth. It's cotton, because this fabric, or this yarn, is cotton. So I'll finish that and probably gift it as well, maybe for a Christmas gift or whatever. But I did start that. I haven't finished it totally. Another finish that I had this month, I don't have it with me because it's already mailed and shipped, and I hope it gets where it's going, but it was a crochet blanket that I had started for someone going through cancer, and it had the ribbon, and I'll put in some pictures here so that you can see. I finished the actual body of it, what was that? Sorry, I'm looking down here. Yeah, back on June 27th is when I finished that, because my goal was to finish it by the 23rd, but it didn't get finished, so I just kept plugging along, got it finished, and was able to mail that off. But I so enjoyed doing that, and thoughts as I was doing it for the person going through that was my goal, and I was very pleased at how it turned out. I decided to put a little border on it with the pom-poms, so I challenged myself there too, because I don't usually do that if I don't have a pattern. The actual body of the pattern I found on YouTube, and I can put that below if anybody's interested. But then I went on YouTube also to find how to make a nice border, and I came across that pom-pom one, and I thought, well, I'm just going to try to put it on the size that I made, and so I had to kind of figure out how many times to go up and down. But I did enjoy doing it. It's fun for me to figure those things out. So that was a third finish, I guess that was, yeah, with the sheaths and the blanket and then the booties. So yeah, I had 3 finishes in the last month since we met, and I was very, very pleased with that. A couple purchases that I put away during my June challenge of the month, I guess it was, Great Craft Room Challenge. I bought some walnut shells that I ended up putting in the closet in one of the containers to easily get to for finishes later, or if I decide to make a tomato. I've kind of been interested in challenging myself there too, but not right away. I thought it'd be nice to have the walnut shells at hand, so I put those up in the closet. That was a big ordeal too with the challenges every month, was trying to find, or every day, was trying to find something to do each day as the month kept coming closer to an end. I kept thinking, well, there's got to be something else, because I mean the biggest challenge was the actual craft table, because I used to have 2, and I divided those up and made it into one big one, and then trying to not have so much stuff on the counters so that I could actually sit down and sew. I don't know if I can swing you over here. Maybe I can. I'll get behind the camera here for a second. Down below, I don't want to mess anything up. Maybe I can just pick it up. I found these at Hobby Lobby, and I took the 2 benches that I had under here because they did take up a lot of room. So I found these at Hobby Lobby on sale. I mean, they used to be $35, and it looks like they were half off. At one time, they were $50. I would never pay $50 for something like this. But being that my rug that I have over on the other side of the room is the same as this, I thought having these 2 stools underneath each of the sewing machines made sense. So that was another haul that I had purchased this month, but they were only $12.50 a piece, so I got 2 of them, one for each of the sewing machines. One of the stools that I had under here went into the spare room with the other sewing machine, so that I have something to sit on in there, and then these ones will sit under here. And when I use these machines, I'll have a stool to sit on here, and then my rolling will go to the main machine that I use over there. Let's move you back over here. But yeah, I'm just kind of sprinkling in my haul as well as the things that I've worked on the last month and the finishes all together this time. It's just kind of a little bit of scattering. But besides those haul, I ended up buying some larger rings from Amazon, but I didn't have any, and I've seen a lot of people using these for their larger projects. And then I was also trying to rethink some of my flosses that I have, like displaying them if I wanted to on a big ring. I know some people put them on pegboards. I could probably do that on this pegboard, but I'd have to rearrange it all. But thinking for the very large projects that I've already got kitted up that have lots of flosses on them, like some of the ones I'm thinking, what is the name of, I can't think of it. I'll put it below. But they have a lot of flosses with them, and they're fairly large patterns that will take me a lifetime probably to stitch. But I'm thinking these big rings will be perfect for those. Teresa Kogut has a couple. There's quite a few. One that I started with Pam with houses a couple years ago. It has quite a few flosses on them. So I think that's what these rings will be used for. So I'll just have to go through and get the larger ones and put them all on those rings. But that's why I purchased those. And while I was at Hobby Lobby getting the flosses for those kits that I kitted up, I of course grabbed a couple more fabrics on the counts that I'm getting low on. I've got two 18 counts. One is in a white and one is Rustico Ada, which is viscose cotton and 17% linen, but it's an 18 count, kind of in a beige brown. And then the white I got because I have, and I've mentioned, I have RIT dye that I'd like to try and just challenge myself there too and try to see what dyeing is like in that sense, so that I can see if it's a possibility to use my own dyed fabrics, if I can do that with the white. So I do have some other counts that I have that are white also, but one at a time just to see how the first one works. That's why I bought that white one. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Besides that, just a couple odds and ends here. I had seen this, of course, someone had mentioned it, probably a YouTube that I watched. It's called Uderly Smooth Hand Cream. So I bought that off Amazon. It was, on the go or having it near when I'm stitching. It does help my dry hands. And then I bought, because I don't have anything to keep my 3x5 cards in, I went ahead and got me a index card holder, because this is kind of where I'll keep, when I finish a project that has those cards in it, this is where I want to keep my organized finished projects, so that I can just index them and know if I look back to see when I did that project, it'll have its own little box. So that was another storage solution that I was thinking that would be handy to have, because I've finished a few and have the little cards, and lately I've just been putting them in one big bag with a Ziploc, and I thought having them in an indexed box card set would be nice. Sulky threads was another one that I had wanted to try. I think the first person I had seen with it was Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo, shared that she had some sulky threads that she purchased off Amazon. I think hers are in cases though. But I had found these in 10 packs, and this one is decorative thread, it says, but it's 12 weight cotton petites by Sulky. And so I got this collection called the Grand Collection. And these are made in Italy, it says, so I'm looking forward to using these. And I think I shared in my challenge in June where I'm storing these in my little clear acrylic cases over there. fit quite a few in the box drawers, so I bought 30 of these. This set, like I said, is called the Grand Collection, so you can see the different shades there. And then this one's the Spring Collection. It's also 12 weight cotton petites. So it's got the lighter versions, which I think will be nice to have. I've also got the Christmas set over there, and then I've got the Summer Collection. So I've got a little bit of a variety going, which will be nice when I go to kit things up. If I want to use these colors, I will have them. So I think tomorrow might be a sorting day to put all this stuff away, but that was fun to find. So like I said, there's 30 more plus what I already have going. So I'm starting to fill my drawers in, which has been fun. Another purchase, and I was thinking about using this here in this room, but I think I've changed my mind and I will probably use it for what it's designed for, and have a little play mat for Briar, my grandbaby. But I've heard that you can put these together and put them on a wall and use them as a design board if you cover them, but I think I told myself she needs to have somewhere that she loves to sit on mats, so I think having a colorful set of mats for her in here will be nice, so that's why I bought those. Set them down here. And speaking of grandbabies and grandmoms, my other haul that I bought, I just thought I'd share. I found this at Target. It was a grandma cup, so for my espressos will be here. And then I found this one called Grammy. The best job I've ever had is being a Grammy. That will be for cocoa, tea, or what have you. So that'll be fun. I bought me two, and then of course I had to get one for Grandpa. So those were my haul pretty much this last month, and in those areas. The last area haul is fabrics in the sewing area. Fat Quarter Shop also had their Mystery Evergreen Fat Quarter Shop exclusive stitch along. So not that I'm going to start it, but I did want to get it and have it in my stash. I went ahead and got the supply list and printed it off, as well as what it will be. It looks like a table runner, but I'm not positive for sure if that's going to be a quilt. It just says Mystery Sal. So I did last year's, and I did start last year's, so I think I want to finish that one before I start this one, but I did print that off to have that. More purchases of fabric. I got some more of the Happiness Blooms, because when I go to start that quilt that I bought all these fabrics for, I wanted to have enough. So this went on sale at my Pink Sands Beach Designs, so I purchased that. And then I just fell in love with, I guess because it's going to be fall soon, and we are all looking forward to some cooler weather, the Harvest Moon line. It just was so pretty, and I thought I'd pick up a couple of their 5-inch squares. So I got 2 of those, as well as a few of their half-yard cuts. No, fat quarter bundle. These are fat quarters, so that's kind of the colors, because I don't have a lot of oranges in my stash, so I thought having those for the fall would be nice. When I go to make something up, I'll have these colors in my stash. And then another shop on Etsy that I'd found when I found that fabric was Acorn Quilt Studio, and I have purchased from them before. But she had some fat quarter bundles also. I kind of hold them up, you can see the different lines. So I went ahead and got those. And I think there's, I want to say 16 fat quarters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 or 16, something like that. But that was the other haul of fabrics that I got, as well as some Clover pins. They're glass head pins. I don't have a whole lot, so I purchased a few of those. And then during one of my Wednesdays that I go away and stitch with the ladies and hook over there on the Old Crafte Store, I'd seen this sewing needle pocket guide for hand stitching, which is for embroidery, quilting, upholstery, sharps, chenilles, milliners, or beading, and more. So it just gives a diagram of all the different needles, the sizes that they come in, and I thought that would be perfect to have as reference. So I purchased it at the store, not realizing that I went on Amazon and ordered it as well. So I do have 2 of these, and I will probably be sending this in a gift to someone. So I have that mistake that we all do at times, is accidentally getting 2 of the same thing. So I do it with patterns, I do it with all the things sometimes, but I just have to be careful. But that happened. I guess I just didn't realize I had ordered it on Amazon and went ahead and purchased it somewhere else. Guess we'll strike it up to age or forgetfulness, whatever. But that was the other haul that I got for sewing. Lastly was some kindness. The last month that I, after my last Flosstube, I had gone to one of my Wednesday events, and one of the ladies was showing some quilt patterns that I guess these were her mother's, and they were passing them around and having people take out any of the patterns that they were interested in. And after I got done looking through it, I guess everybody else had already looked too. She offered the whole sets to me, and I was just tickled pink. I thought, oh, okay, I could easily use these as great reference for quilting, but knowing that it was her mother's and that it was going to somebody that really loves to sew, and I do love to sew, I just need more time to do all the things that I want to do. But in these collections by Oxmoor House are just, they have the templates in some of them, and they're just, I mean, double wedding ring patterns, just all kinds of different patterns, bow tie patterns for quilts. So I was just so tickled. Fanny's fan, just all kinds, and they give the pattern and how to do it, as well as some of the templates. If you don't have the rulers or whatever, you can do that. Some of them, like I said, got passed around, so they're not all here. But to me, it's still a wonderful reference to have all these quilts. I'll never probably need to buy another quilt pattern if I think about it, with all the ones that are in here. But there's actually 2 full books. So I'm very appreciative of her passing those on to me. The Ohio Star, just to name some goose tracks, things I would love to try, and even 1 square at a time, just to learn how to do these and have these reference books. So that was a kindness that was given to me. I didn't bring it in here, but another kindness that happened in the last month that so tickled me, and I am just so ecstatic and excited to use. Like I had mentioned, I'm learning hooking, and to be able to learn a new craft and have the supplies that you need for it, I've just been so at awe at the kindness of people getting started to learn things, how willing they are to help and give. And like I had mentioned in previous floss tubes, the needles, the yarn, the wool, the stands to be borrowed to help me start this craft has just been amazing. And I'll put in a picture here, but I was contacted by one of the crafters saying that she knew somebody that had a floor stand for hooking rugs, and if I was interested in it. And I of course said yes. I would love to have something like that. Learning this craft, especially the size of the crafts that we're doing, some of them take a bigger stand. So I got in touch with her, and she let me know that she would send it to me, and that came, I guess that was like this past week. I think I've posted a few pictures on Instagram, and I am just so grateful to have that. And then she went out of her way to package it smaller so that she could ship it and not cost as much as it was going to be. So it was, I mean, at an expense to me to purchase it for shipping, but she didn't want any money for it. So to me, that was just a blessing to know that somebody was willing to send me something and not want money back for it. And I mean, she was just glad it wasn't going to be thrown in the trash, which I am grateful for, to be able to say that I saved something from the trash. But I will use that, and in the pictures that I've shared, I've got a project on it that I do want to continue, and that's where that will be. And when I want to go in there and hook on a rug, I will know that the kindness of others brought this to me. So thank you again. You know who you are. So those were some Stitchy Kindnesses. I buried my notes, so let me move a few of these things so I can make sure we've covered everything that I wanted to today. I guess I haven't shared the actual stitching that I did, which was only on one project this month, because like I've mentioned, it's been a busy month. With summer here now, we are going up to the lake every weekend, and it does kind of take up my time. I do bring things like this past week with the organizing of kitting. The crochet's been the easiest, really, so that's probably why I've done so much crochet lately, because it's busy and I can easily do that in the car. But the stitch that I did start finally, the Visitor, and that's from Lost in Stitches. She started a sale, Lisa, and I kitted it up last month, or was it a little bit, I think it was in May actually when I kitted this up. I actually kitted the floss before I bought the actual pattern for this one, and I will share the flosses that I'm using. I went ahead and picked my own colors on this one, and this one does have one of the rings that I just recently got. I went ahead and transferred that onto a big one because there are quite a few colors in this one, and I kitted this up on my own stash because I did not have all of the colors that they called for. So I'm using a mix of Gentle Arts, I'm using two silks. One is a DMC silk and another is the Trenway silks, and then I've also got a bunch of Krynics in here. Guess I can come a little closer so you can see the actual colors, and then the rest are the Weeks Dye Works. So all of those colors are going to go onto the fabric that I'm using, which is I always have these things not ready. It's a platinum linen, and it's a 32 count, and I started this on, where did my notes go? I keep moving things. Here it is. I started this stitch on July the 3rd, so right before the holiday. I was up at the lake and just told myself we are going to get this started, because I think they started in June. I forget the exact date. I want to say the 18th of June, but I was a little late because I was busy with the summer and all the crochet projects that I was doing. But I did finally get a stitch in. It's a small start, but that's kind of how far I got. And it's the actual bird's start of the bird's head, I guess, is what that's going to be. Put this up here if you want to see that. But I am excited to keep going. I'm liking the color variegation that this is giving. That particular color is the I think the one that I want, yeah, now that I'm looking at it, it's the Caribbean, and it's the variegated, which that's why that gives that color. It's got the different variegated colors in there. So it'll be fun to see the different ways this comes out on the fabric, but I am looking forward to doing this. Not going to put a goal of when to finish, but that's my stitch that I did this past month besides the other stitching. There's so many things I want to do though, and that's kind of what I've seen with a lot of other floss tubers and crafters, that we start something and we just want to start all the things. So besides that, plans, like I said, will just be continue these ones that I've started. I'd like to make a few more beaded fobs and things for the projects that I've kitted, as well as possibly finish up some of the project bags that I talked about. Of course, putting all this stuff away will be the next couple days. And it is, what did I say? What is today? I've already lost my train of thought on what day of the week it is. It is Monday. So tomorrow will be Grandbaby Day, so that's that planned for tomorrow. Wednesday I'll be going to meet my friends for crafting, for hooking. I'm going to continue my hook projects. So if I have specific days like that, I do want to do that. And Thursday I might see my grandbaby again, but in between times that they're here, I come in here, or I am in another room in the house trying to do little things like I've done in the last month with the crafty things that I enjoy. But I do appreciate you following me. If you like these videos, I will continue hopefully on a monthly basis. Like I said, August is going to be another busy month with birthdays, and then every weekend we're up at the lake lot, and my husband is going to be taking some time off from work, which means we'll probably be up there a little bit more than we have been. And you can imagine the packing and the unpacking, and it's kind of been my life lately between the projects. But I am going to make time for the things that I love, and that is the one reason I kitted this project up. So between the August one that I kitted, this is the other one that I plan to start. So between the visitor and this one and the August one, I think that'll keep me busy the next few months. But I do want ideas also on how people schedule their projects when it comes to cross stitch. I've just been picking them up and looking at the ones that I think I want to work on, and then setting them aside and picking up something else. But I'd really like to get into a routine to where I'm picking them up more than every few months, and sometimes it's every 6 months, and sometimes it goes a year. So I want to see some of these get finished. So I know starting new things doesn't help, but finishing the ones I've started, getting those on a routine is kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Keeping my planner has been helpful, so I can write down the things that I've worked on, and then I get excited when I'm working on those and want to keep going. I can do it with crochet easily for some reason, but when it comes to cross stitch, I get a little scattered, and I don't know if anybody else is like that, but that's the way I feel when it comes to my cross stitch pieces. I start something, get a little start on it, set it aside, and start something else. But how do you keep at the same thing is kind of what I'm interested in hearing. So if you have any suggestions, leave it below, and we will see you again. I'm hoping in August, and knowing that I can get on and get my things uploaded easily, I think it won't be a problem, especially after last month with doing daily videos. If I can do that, I think I can come on here monthly and give you updates. So thank you for being with me, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. bubbles in your hair. Yeah, bubbles! Oh, Mama dropped her phone. Bubbles! Bubbles!